Hey everybody, it's Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and today we're doing a collab with the Word, and it's going to be all about positive mindset. And of course, before we get started, we have to start with the channel song.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Hey everybody, it's Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and today we have an awesome collaboration that I am doing with the Word. He is a fellow content creator. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, to share what he does on his channel, and then we'll go from there.
Hello everyone, I'm the Word. On my channel, what I do is I speak about self-improvement. I use different tools. I talk about the mind, the body, and the soul. All three aspects to me are key and important because we all are three. We are our mind, body, and we all are soul. So through my travels and through my, I guess you want to call it educational life experience, I encountered various methods of healing both the mind and the soul. And I just share the information that I came into whatever in hopes that the same things that help me help other people.
Well, that's amazing. The things that will help you will help other people. And we're hoping that this conversation is going to help a lot of people. So I have pinned the Words channel at the top of this chat. So head on over to his channel and show him some love. Check out some of his videos. Let his ads roll. He has great content and information. Of course, guys, I know why y'all are here. We're here to talk about the positive mindset, this collab with the Word. And I'm just going to start off right from the bat with the first thing that I have to ask the Word. You know, positive mindset. When we think about positive mindset, what are some of the things that you have in your mind? So I'm going to ask the Word, what do you define a positive mindset as?
I would define a positive mindset as being able to see the light in the darkness. When they say turn lemons into lemonade, basically having a positive mindset is when things aren't working out for you, you don't give up, you don't fold, you find a way to make it happen. And we all know, life throws so many different obstacles at us that sometimes it's hard to overcome those obstacles. But with a positive mindset, like I said, it's the light in the darkness. That's how I define it.
So you look at as you try to see the glass as half full. I don't want to take any words out of your mouth. Um, just to, just so that everybody can understand. How do you see it again? Because your mic was going in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry. So even with the glass half full or half empty aspect, I look at I look at it as space, just the potential to grow. So like the best way I can describe it is being in darkness and walking forward, knowing that it's a light eventually will shine. Just taking those steps with faith, understanding that it's dark right now, but the more steps I take, the closer I get to the light.
Wow. That's a great analogy of using thinking that you're in the dark, but knowing that you're going to come to the light if you step forward. I think that that's a very encouraging thought because when you are in darkness, any type of way, you're always trying to seek and try to find the light. But as you were saying, you're trying to step forward, but sometimes you may fall down and because you don't know what is around because you're in the dark. Is there some type of ways that we can think about, you know, moving forward in a positive way to get to that? Because when you're down a lot of times in a dark place and space, how can you shift that thinking from thinking that it will get better? I think that that's a common struggle for most people.
What I use is this concept I've learned through studying different religions and philosophies. Um, we all understand that we have a creator. Some call it God, some call it Allah, some even say it's the universe. I just remember studying different religions and realizing it's something bigger in me that I'm not aware of yet. And the more I went inside, the more I found it, and it's that light. So what keeps me motivated and moving is understanding I'm not only the flesh. We live in the flesh. And a lot of times the things that bother us is in the flesh is something that we physically have to deal with. So we get stagnated on the thought that we're just flesh. What helps me is understanding that I am a divine being. I have the essence of God. I'm not alone. No matter what I go through, God, the creator, the universe, is always with me and will never leave me. It's a part of me. I don't just focus on the flesh. I understand I am a living. I understand that I have a mind and I use it. So when I have adversity in front of me, it just gives me the opportunity to be creative or innovative to solve this problem.
Wow, that's powerful. And I can only speak from when I was in some dark places. I think that's the first thing that we usually encounter, thinking that it will never get better. We just think as our downs being really down and that there's no hope or possibility, and we kind of just give up, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, and we stay in that dark space for longer than we have and we should be. But there's always a possibility and hope, and when you know you're going through something alone, you're not alone in going through things, then that's how you get encouraged to keep going, and it helps us to have that positive mindset.
Definitely. Because, when I was younger, my father used to have this mantra. He gave me this mantra. It was PMA, positive mental attitude. And I didn't quite understand it when I was younger. I just used it. I just knew I had to be positive no matter what. So it was kind of like a reflex at first. But like I said, the more I studied, the more I understood how beneficial it was. So I didn't only use it when I fell down, I used it for everything now. Anything that I encounter, I use a positive mental attitude towards it, whether it's going good or going bad for me. So having that positive mindset, um, and I equate that to attitude, but having that is like a superpower sometimes. Most of the time, I say.
Oh, I've never heard that before. PMA. That's the sauce alert, everybody. PMA. So let me welcome everybody who is in the chat because I haven't done that again. Welcome, Eunice. Hey, Tamika. Hey, Estad. Hi, Latanya. Hey, Tamika. Hey, James. And I think that's everybody. Oh, and always Tam Tam. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this collab this evening. I hope everybody's well. And we would love if you would hit the subscribe. And I have pinned the words channel to the top of this chat. So go ahead and check him out and see what his channel is all about. So, you were saying PMA, that's something that your father gave to you. So, would you say that your father and other people in your life are positive people?
Oh, definitely. I get a lot of, and I always tell people I'm blessed. I understand a lot of people don't have the circle or the support system that I have. And I'm blessed that they stuck with me uh, through my ignorance when I was younger. But like my mom and dad told me every time I say that to them, they say, "Well, it paid off. Look at you now." So yeah, I got a ton of positive people around me, and I continuously find them. I attract them. So
Right.
yeah.
So, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was it.
Okay. So you have a positive circle, but have you always had a positive circle of people?
To be honest with you, I did. I just didn't know. Um, I didn't take advantage of them, and I wish I did more when I was younger because one of my uncles died when I was a young age. And now that I'm older, and all the things he used to tell me, um, it makes sense now. And I wish I understood it when I was younger. When you're young, sometimes you don't know what you have. A lot of times in life, you don't really know what you have until it's gone. And now looking back, just a lot of the elders. I was raised around a lot of older people. Like my first cousins are older than my mom. So I was raised around a lot of older people. So I was, like I said, I was blessed. I just didn't know what I have. So I didn't take full advantage of it until I got older.
Hmm. So you say you always have been around positive people, and that's a wonderful thing. But like you said, we when we have good things, you don't even know the treasures and the value that you have surrounding you, like you said, until it's gone. So what are some of the you would say some of the things that other people around you, like you said, you had your uncle and your mom and your father, what are some of the things that they did to prove to you that you could have a positive mindset? Because it's one thing for people to say, but what type of actions did they do to prove to you that they could stay positive?
I would say my mom, just watching my mom, and because she had me when she was 16. So her not, giving me up or avoiding me, her going to college, um, finishing high school, going to college, going to get her master's degree, going to get her. She was just like a machine. She just. I didn't watching my mother. When we learn observing. So watching my mother, I didn't understand what giving up was because I never seen her do it. So um, no matter what happened, when I remember just when her car got stolen. I was driving her car and I stayed the night over this female house and her car got stolen. And she wasn't even upset that the car got stolen. She just wanted to make sure I was okay. And I'm afraid like, oh, she will be mad at me. But she said, no, as long as you okay. She said, I go get another car. Never once, even to this day, never say, hey, you got my car stolen. Nothing negative. My mom, I don't even know half the time if she knew it or not. It was just natural to her that she looks for the silver lining. So just her raising me, her inputting all her knowledge and wisdom in me, it became natural for me also. along with a lot of other positive influences. I could say my uncle, he died of brain cancer. And when he died, he wanted all the men around him. And he said, I showed y'all how to live like a man, I'm going to show you how to die like a man. And he passed away with a smile on his face. So it wasn't no complaining. It wasn't no, why God me. I'd never heard someone say that. I never heard anybody ever said he said that. So I had great examples, especially now that I'm older looking back. I can really appreciate a lot of things that, the elders showed me, just by their actions, not even a lot by the words. I can remember the words, but I can remember how they went through things. And now that I'm older, it makes more sense.
Wow. Wow, that is just like Eunice said. That's beautiful to have that type of example with your mother, being 16, giving up so much, not only to have you, but to raise you and to feed and pour into you so much love. Because the majority of the time when you're younger, you don't have that type of mindset. It's something that you grow into it, and it's wonderful that you were raised in that, in such a nice, calm and understanding environment. But not everybody has that. That's the tough part. You really did have great examples of positivity. So let's get into, oh, go ahead, Word.
I was about to say too. I also had the environment I was in. I mean, my mom was the light, but the environment I was in was chaos. So I kind of got to see I got experience at a young age of going through trials and tribulations, being in a chaotic environment, and watching her pull through. When we first moved to Detroit, the neighborhood we stayed in was called Baby Vietnam, and my stepdad was from here. We from a small town in Pennsylvania, so he moved us right in the hood. And the second night, our house got shot up. We stayed there in that house for 9 months, and it got shot up 4 different times. So, I mean, and then just the environment my stepfather put us around, it was dangerous. The people he dealt with, circumstances that he put himself in, and the situations that happened because of those circumstances. So yeah, I got a dose of both, chaos and but like I said, my mom put me in the bubble as much as she could, but you know, um, they instilled a lot in me when I was younger. So when I got older, even though I strayed off the path a lot, it was in me, so it was natural for me to refine it.
Wow, so you really you got a mixture of positivity plus mixed with chaos. I can't imagine being in that type of environment, but you still rose above all of it. Welcome in, lovely Cherokee. Thank you so much for being here, and everybody who's here in the chat. Now, the question that I have for you is, I just lost it. Okay. So here is the question. Have you always had a positive mindset? If no, what caused it to be negative?
I had it, I just didn't understand it and didn't know how to use it. It forced me to relearn or understand the lessons that I was taught. Um, I went, it was it was a bunch of things, but my life, you wake up one day and you look at yourself and you realize, okay, it's none. And you realize that you wasting your potential, you wasting your life, the people you're around, the places, the environment you're in. Um, there's no growth. There's only death. And I wanted out. And at first, when you want to have situations like that, okay, no, back up. the very first thing you do is, you want to take your life. Okay, 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 okay. And then one second. The very first thing I wanted to do, was take my life. I failed at that, and I realized, how much pain I would have caused to the people around me. So I know I needed help. I went to therapy, and that didn't help. Uh, And like I said, I always had that if someone can't fix it, I got to fix it myself attitude. I got to do it myself. I always had that. So I went and what everybody do, go looking for God. And when I found the Creator, everything made sense. So that's what did it for me.
Wow. What an incredible testimony that you're sharing. You could you could be in uh, negative environments, positive environments, but it's all about making choices to improve. And you were saying that you went to therapy, but it didn't help you. So, what is it that caused you outside of yourself and your strength and power that caused you to seek and get help?
Looking at my mom, like she sacrificed so much and gave so much, and it's like I just didn't want to disappoint her. Like my biggest fear up until probably about 10 years ago was to disappoint my mother. That was the biggest fear. Even though when I was doing stupid stuff, I did it smartly because I didn't want to get caught. Because I didn't want to disappoint my mom. I didn't want my mom coming back to get me out of jail. So when I was younger, instead of using that motivation to do the right thing, it it just made me learn how to do the wrong thing better. So when I realized that I can use it, I can flip it. That's what drove me. I just wanted my mom to be proud of me because I wanted her to see all her sacrifices and everything that she been through. It wasn't in vain, and that's what motivated me.
Wow. You wanted to make your mom proud, and I think it's very I think it's very interesting that you said that you knew what to do, so you changed the situation almost in a sneaky way, just so that you wouldn't be caught doing things. But eventually, you switched your life around. So, how was it that you switch your life and change your life from being out in the streets and the things that you were doing to wanting better and doing better? How did that start?
That was a process I failed at a couple times because I felt, just as long as I stopped, that it was enough. But it wasn't. I had to cut out people, I had to change my environment. Um, Once I did that, I was able to think.
I believe your mic just went out.
Had a phone call. Okay. Stop.
Okay.
Okay, okay, Diddy. I'm sorry, I had to put my phone on, did not disturb. I had a phone call. But
If you need to take a moment, I can greet everybody.
oh no, he can
Okay.
cover. No, no. Okay, go then. Go in there. Go play with her in there. I'm sorry, my son is when he get cranky and sleepy, he's like the old me. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what part did I cut off at? Okay,
I don't know, but somebody said in the chat your volume seems to go down on his end, on your end. So I'm just going to give you a moment, get yourself together, welcome everybody who's in the chat. Thank y'all so much for being here. Appreciate it. You know, this speaking on a positive mindset is so important. It's vital to think about your mindset. And, you may think that you have a positive mindset, but we can always improve in how we're thinking about things, how we're processing things, how we choose to look at our life. And it's so profound how the word from the environment that he was around, a dangerous environment, um, very, very much involved in where he grew up. It was a dangerous environment. People around him, you know, people who are doing things that is very dangerous. And he was in that environment, but he chose to not be like that any longer. He wanted better for himself, but also for his mother. And that's a great motivating force. Everybody has to have something that wants to motivate them to make a change in their life. And for the word, it was his mother. He wanted to make his mother proud. So, a thing that I would like to ask the word is, um, how do you gain a positive mindset?
And that, can you hear me a little clearer now? I'm gonna try to speak
Yes,
a little
I
louder.
yes I can.
Okay. Now that's tricky because I think it occurs differently for everyone. But what I will tell people, a great starting point is put yourself around positive people. See how they act, see how they think. You know, one of my mentors always told me success leaves a pattern, it leaves a path. So I would first put myself around positive people and almost emulate them, you know, um, because it's something that you can gain and lose too. So you have to not only learn how to obtain it, but to maintain. And it's practice, it's work, it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight. Another thing you can do, what I did was isolate myself. A lot of times, it's hard to be positive or think positive when there's so many distractions around you. You know, so many people giving you advice, so many people telling you how they do stuff, telling you what they would do in that particular situation, whatever you might be going through. So isolation, it quiets everything down. It gives you the thing. Once you're able to think on your own, you can determine what's important to you and what's not. And that's why I said me being away from the people who I was running around the streets with gave me the ability to think for myself.
Yes, that's so important. It's so important to look at the people that you're surrounded by because they can either help or hinder your life. I was told that for so many years by family members and even my mentor, your associates can help you or hinder you, but you don't get it until you want to get it. When you're younger, you're just selfish and thinking about yourself and what you want to do, and it's not that you don't think that what you're doing or the people around you aren't good people for you. You know they aren't, but it's just you want to be popular. You're just involved in trying to make money and all of that, that you can get sidetracked from what your purpose is. So another question that I have for you: how did you find out what you wanted to do, your purpose in your life to get you to that positive mindset?
Can you repeat that one more time?
How did you work on your purpose so that you could get into that mindset?
To be to be honest with you, I think I kind of fell into it when I was studying different religions and philosophies. They just some of the like Confucius, a lot of things Confucius said resonated with me, and it made me realize, like I said, even when I describe myself now, you know, I always describe myself as a divine being having a human experience, um, and that right there is so prolific for me because it just reminds me that I am much more than the circumstance or conditions that I'm in. It's much more than that. And that made me want more. It made me desire more. So I hope I answered that question.
You did. You answered that question very well. And what Terry Jones is saying, you gain a negative mindset by being around people of death, darkness, and defeat. And I found that for myself, that when you're around negative people, you don't even realize that you are becoming negative until you start seeing your actions the way that you're talking, or when you get drained or you're unmotivated to do anything. Have you ever found that to be in your case? You feel your energy is lessened, or you start acting a way that's contrary to how you normally act.
Um, Now I don't encounter that too much, but when I was younger, I did. And that's why I always tell people, if you're not influenced, you're being influenced. When I became aware of that concept, if I'm not having some type of positive influence, if I can't make people smile, I get out of there. I don't even want to be around people like that. I can't. Because eventually, like you said, they will begin to drain you. So if it's not beneficial to me, I'm not indulging in it. I'm good, you know. So, yeah, when I was younger, definitely, that's why I say, even though I stopped, running around the street, stopped hustling, those were my friends, my buddies, so I was still around me. So even though I'm not doing this, I still put myself in situations, things happen where I had to revert back to the old me to survive, you know. That they, even though I wasn't, hustling, just hanging around, I was still being influenced. So I had to get away. And now that I'm aware and understand, it's like an alarm to go off. Once I see I can't have an impact, then it's not for me. Unless I'm in a positive environment, you know, and understanding, being aware of what type of influence is occurring. If it's negative or positive. If it's a positive, then I'm staying there. I'm enjoying it. I'm embracing it. But if it's negative and I can't change the room or change the mood, then I leave.
Wow, that's powerful. And I think it always involves the where you are in your life at a certain time. Sometimes you're not strong enough to even know that you can leave a room. There is power in knowing that you can change anything that you don't like. If you don't like the way somebody's talking to you, treating you, how they make you feel, that someone's discouraging you, using you, making you be a doormat to anything, that you don't have to stick around. You don't have to take certain things. And I think it takes that sort of mindset. And I speak all the time about strengthening your mind power, because when your mind power is strong, then you are able to speak up for yourself and you're able to do things. I just want to ask you a question, like, what are some of the things that maybe you can help the audience to, something that will help them to strengthen their mind power, those who are feeling discouraged and they don't really know what to do, how to shift that out of their life?
I would say this. Um, First, you have to know yourself. Know yourself. Uh, because one of the greatest tools I use is, I say it so many times, and I think I say it so nonchalant, but if something is not benefiting you, it's not for you. As simple as that. You have to not accept things. You have to not settle. You know, the reason people suffer so much is because they settle. Those feelings inside that you get of inadequate or loss or loneliness, that's because you settled for something that wasn't for you. As a person, a place, it could be a job. You know, you just can't settle. Something you can't change, like family. Like I said, I'm blessed. I have friends who I'm not blessed like I am to have a great mother, and they ask me, well, I have to settle with this. Well, you can learn from it. That's another tool. Anything that you go through, embrace it. Embrace your pain, embrace the darkness, embrace it all. And the reason I say that is to learn from it. Understand how it feels and love yourself. Never want to feel that way again. And find ways not to feel that way again.
Yeah, that's a man. Is that good? You with everything you can empower yourself. And I always say that one of the most important gifts that you can give yourself is accountability. And it's a gift and it's a curse at the same time, because with when you see something in the mirror, something that you don't like, it's when you are making a decision, am I going to do something about this, or am I going to let it stay the same? And the majority of people out there, they see something within themselves and then they either complain about it, or they know they need to do something and they're not willing to do anything, and they like to shift the blame to somebody else. So anything that you would like to give to the audience, how can others work on their strength to have accountability for themselves? Because it's hard for many people to be accountable for their actions.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom. You know, that's what I mean for the people who I mentor, even some of the people that I'm coaching now. You know, like you said, people ain't willing to change through sometimes. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom. But for those who seek it and don't want to hit rock bottom, I think accountability is a great place to start. Also, you would never put effort into anything if you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe you can achieve. If you don't think it's a possibility, if you don't have hope, if you don't have faith, uh, people don't push themselves. I have a problem with pushing myself too much. Um, but it's desire too. Find something that's bigger than you. This is what I did. Um, Found something that was bigger than me at that time, because I didn't look at myself like everyone else did. I didn't look at myself in a good light. So I had to find something that was bigger than me, and that was my mother. You know. Now I don't. If I'm not big enough to overcome something, I look at my kids. When I first got to the shunt and lost my eyesight, I was not. I am not the same person I was 3 years ago. And that's uh, tough pill to swallow because um, a lot of me was physical. I trained in mixed martial arts. I use my work on cars and work on houses. I drive. I'm a businessman. You know, so everything, just being aware, being able to see my surroundings, understand what's going on. I couldn't do that no more. Honestly, I was like, I don't want to live like this. I didn't want to live the way I'm living now. You know, but then I looked at my son. I looked at my wife, and I said, you know what? Um, right now, I'm not big enough to overcome what I'm going through. So I used them. You know, I used something outside myself. That was important to me. That I wanted. I want to see my wife happy. I want to see my son grow up and get married, graduate, and all those things. So that's what pushed me into getting surgery. So I would say sometimes you have to use tools most of the time. And one of the tools I use is find something bigger than you. If you don't look at yourself in a light that will motivate you to push you forward, find something, find somebody, and use that.
Yes, you have to find something bigger than yourself. When I was going through my dark period, that's what helped me as well. thinking that I'm not going through this alone. You have to have something to encourage you, to catapult you forward, because where you are currently may not be in a good space. And I believe a lot of times that people are so busy living in their past that they don't even give themselves an opportunity to enjoy their present. They stay in the past too long, and you must let go of the past in order for you to stay in the present.
And that's all facts too. I feel like the past is there for us to learn from. You know, you talking our own personal experience, or even if we're talking history. You know, it's there for us to learn, there for us to grow. You know, we can't stay back there. You can't go forward looking backward. You know, one of the acronyms that I adopted. You know, shout out to Frankie Blanco. You know, he says SAD means stress, anxiety, and depression. You know, he say thinking about the future too much gives you anxiety. Thinking about the past gives you depression. And when you're not living in the present, you usually sad. So I adopted that from him. And it was a concept that I'm using now, you know, when I coach people.
Yes, it's so important for us to. I think one of the things that helped me the most is to not ignore my past, because we can't ignore what has happened to us, but we have to find tools to help us to enjoy where we are currently. And one of my things is what was disrupting me and making me a negative person was that I wasn't giving myself the permission to let things go. um, I beat up myself all the time, like, why didn't I speak up for myself? Why didn't I do this? And why didn't I do that? So I had to go back into my inner child, and I had to confront my inner child and have a conversation, like, confront that little girl inside of me, or if you're a male, the little boy inside of you. And I had to say to the little girl, I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you, but now I'm an adult, and now the adult me is here. So you don't have to worry. So anytime I have a fear, or I'm worried about something, or something from my past starts to bubble up inside of me, that's the tool that I use. I have to talk to my inner child and comfort the little me and say, it's okay. We can do this. We got it. And now we can move forward.
And yeah, that's a dope tool. And I use that also, you know, because when I was younger, you know, my stepdad used to physically abuse me. I wasn't big enough to uh, protect myself, you know, and I was afraid to tell my mom because he said it hurt both of us. So, you know, I just took it. But then when I got big enough, you know, I wasn't taking it no more. But the thing with that is too, you know, I took so many whoopings that I built up all this rage. And when I was finally big enough to defend myself, that rage didn't go nowhere. It just grew and grew. And it became a detriment to me because I couldn't control it. You know, now I'm big enough to handle myself, and every little situation, you know, I went into defense mode and attack. So I had to learn how to control that, and to do that, I had to go back to the past and tell my younger self that, hey, look, we cool now. You know, we got this. You don't have to rage out no more. You know, you don't have to get defensive because you feel someone is attacking you. You don't have to do that no more. We adults now. Um, we can take it in stride. So I definitely feel you on that. Going back and talking to your younger self.
Yeah. When I started to become friends with Boss Life Online, not just on YouTube, but in real time, she's a one of my friends and mentors, and she's the one that helped me with that, in speaking to my inner child. And we don't even understand a lot of times why we can't do things. We think that we are facing fear or worry, but actually, it's our inner child that we need to comfort, and we need to tell it to have a seat and to just move forward. I tell myself all the time, I say, little Marlene, be quiet because we're about to do this.
Yeah, I would say this too. And like I said before, I know I say things nonchalant, but I really want y'all to understand that things don't benefit you. You need to identify them and get rid of them. And you can't do that without replacing it with something, because you will always revert back to old habits. So uh, you have to be aware. You have to be aware. You have to be aware. Awareness is everything. Understanding where you at in the moment. You know, a lot of times things happen, we respond or react to it, and then a couple days later we think, "Oh, I should have did this or I could have did this." Try to learn to be aware in the moment and take advantage of that, because adversity is only opportunity.
Yes, it's so important to be aware of what you're going through and what you're dealing with, and then to move past it. Confront that fear, confront how you feel. And I always, people always pretend like it's a weakness to have emotion, and for most of the time, it's looked down on for a man to have emotion, and even a woman to have emotion. But it's not the problem with having the emotion. The obstacle is when you allow that emotion to take control and take over, that you're not allowing yourself to make good decisions. You're letting that emotion control everything, where as you have to also bring in logic.
And to expound on what you just said, to always tell people, imagine your emotions as fire. You know, fire can give you warmth, it can provide food for you, it can provide light for you, or it can burn everything down and destroy it. So if you don't control that fire and use it properly, it will be your death. So think of your emotions as fire. And that's why I always tell people, care about how you feel. And another thing too about emotions, if you don't learn how to control your emotions, other people will control them for you. You know, you have to master it. And I hope y'all get time to come over and check me out. So even with Marlene, we talk about it a lot. Marlene talk about it a lot, and I talk about it a lot. One of the things we're not taught when we're young is about our emotions. You have to learn how to identify them and utilize them. I talk about transmutation of energy. Just because you feeling angry, mad, sad, that's your emotion. Learn how to use that to benefit yourself. You hear athletes, certain athletes, you piss them off, they get in the zone and they go wrong. You know, some of the greatest painters painted when they were sad and mad. Some of the greatest artists created the most beautiful melodies when they were sad. They use emotions for their benefit. So just because something feels bad or sad, don't mean you can't utilize it to benefit you. It's yours.
Exactly. It's using your emotion to benefit your life. And it's not that you don't go through painful situations, it's not that you don't have struggles. Everybody has painful situations, problems, and traumas, but it's what you choose to do with this your set circumstance that you have. How are you going to choose to look at it? And I always like to, um, the illustration that um, the example that my therapist would always give me. She always told me about your light. You can have light in in your inside of yourself, but are you allowing it to be dim or dormant, or are you turning the knob and letting your light shine and radiate through you? We all have a choice to make on how much light we choose to have in our life, how we choose to use our energy. Are you going to let life's problems overtake you, or are you going to not let certain things get to you? And you have to learn what is worth confronting and what you need to let go of. And all of that is knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and being firmly rooted in the foundation of who you are. And most of the time, from our childhood, we're not taught from a young age usually to know our worth and we're special and we're somebody. And that's why our mindset could be off by the time we get to be an adult, because we've put up with so many things that we didn't allow ourselves to process all of those things. So you become a jaded adult that never confronted their past or their feelings, and you must do that in order to get into a positive mindset.
And that's fact. And I think a big key component too, going back to you said we're not taught as kids, we're not taught about, how our mind works, as kids. We're not taught about we have a soul. So in the flesh, we talk about self-defense. People go train, they might even buy a firearm. We know we have to defend ourselves physically, but no one teaches us how to defend ourselves spiritually or mentally. And that's what I plan on doing with my son. And even the people, the young men that I mentor, I stress that, you are much more than your flesh. That's one thing people need to grasp the concept of. You're not only your physical, you're your mind, you're your soul too. You have to nurture all three aspects. And until you do, that's why people feel so lost and separated, is because they're outside of themselves. The influence that society has on us, telling us who we are, defining how we supposed to be. They put us in boxes, and people just accept it and um, adapt to whatever the circumstance is inside that box. If you're African American, a lot of people just accept the ideologies and prejudgments of being African American. And not only do they not try to change it, they live up to it. They go around calling themselves names that is used to degrade us, and in some way, somehow feel it's empowering. Saul Shackle, man. I ain't mean to get off into that, but what I'm saying is that you're much more than your flesh. You have to nurture your mind. You have to nurture your soul. There's multiple ways to do it. There's people on the internet giving game for free. Marlene, me, even buying a membership, you get a little bit more. But ultimately, all our lives that we hold is about self improvement, self empowerment, uh, motivation, and it's free. You know,
Exactly. It's about either, like you said, is either taking control or being controlled. And there's a lot of things that can control us. There's certain people, you can't control what people do, you can't control what other people say, but you can control what you think about yourself, what you believe about yourself. And like the word was saying, we have to think more of just what is going on with our spirit. We have to think about our soul. And I learned that from Shay Love too, about people have soul sicknesses. That's when you see people do such evil and dark things, that they need to fix their soul. It is a soul problem, and you have to get into that and nurture and care for your soul, and not just your physical person, but your spirit. You have to think about how you're doing emotionally, get into your spiritual side. And I speak about it all the time. People always focus on prayer. and how important prayer is. And while prayer is important, it's important for you when you pray, you're asking, you're asking for help. But when you meditate, you're giving yourself the time to think about and get an answer and a response from your higher power. So when they're coupled together, that's how the spirit and the soul get help.
And to add to that, most people, that's a fact too. Most people don't understand. They only teach you one aspect of prayer. Um, after the Last Supper, when Jesus went off to himself, he went to go meditate. Prayer is the act of asking. Meditation is the act of receiving. People turn you away from meditation for a reason, because it quiets everything. There's different forms of meditation. Jogging is a form of meditation. Taking a shower is a form of meditation. It's how you quiet the mind to drown out all outside noise, to hear the inner voice, the inner light, giving you direction, showing you the path. People think when they pray, they ask God for something, and God spawns it right in front of them. That's not it. It just opens the path. Manifesting is not instantly getting what you desire. It's opening the path so you can do the work, so you can walk it to receive it. You have to move forward. Um, you have to put in the work to receive what you want. That's probably the easiest way I can explain it.
Wow, that's amazing. And like Word said, it's important to do both. They work together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, prayer and meditation. That was a sauce alert. They work together. So this is the final question that I have for the Word is, after the difficulties and the things that you've been through and shifting your life and working on your mindset, what is next for you, the Word, for your positive mindset?
Just keep adding to it. Just in life, I already know I'm gonna have many more difficult or uh, opportunities of adversity. So, like I said, you can get it 1 minute and one yesterday can take it away. So it's not about obtaining it; it's about maintaining it. So, just maintaining a positive mindset. As you get older, different things change. Um, People go, people come. We lost my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and gained my son and my daughter all within 3 years. So we lost and we gained simultaneously. That's the cycle. Just understanding life more, from different perspectives. I'm still studying. I'm still studying different philosophies, different aspects of religion. I'm still studying. There's so many texts out there that I haven't read yet. I haven't uh, broke down yet. And so it's an ongoing process for me. The day I stop learning is the day I'm not here physically. I'm gonna keep practicing, keep studying, keep cultivating the things I know and involving. I want to say one thing about prayer too. I think people like when the most common ideology about prayer is that we ask for something. And to be honest with you, it's not about asking, because even in the Bible, you know, uh, we are in the covenant with God. We have to make requests. It's the mindset, it's the energy we put behind it. You know, Instead of asking, I'm not going to use the word demand, but I'm going to use the word claim. When you pray, claim what you want like it's done already. If you have faith, if you have belief in God, know when you make a statement that it's already done. The path is open now. You just have to find it and walk it. Don't ask for anything. You have to claim it because when you ask, you have doubt. When you ask, it's doubt in there. So it's nothing to ask for. You have to claim it and know it's already done and walk with faith that it will be done.
Yes. Wow, that was powerful. That's very powerful. So I just want to do a little bit of a recap. The Words channel. He speaks on these topics all the time, and he has an amazing channel. He just got membership on his channel, and it is worth his membership. Go over, get a membership. It's only $1. I call it a dollar holla. So join his channel membership. And, when we speak about the positive mindset, we can't leave out where we can go. There's so much for us to do in the future, but everything in our life is up to us. How we're choosing to vibrate, how we're choosing to use our energy. And we can choose to dim our light, we can choose to radiate it, but it's about decisions that we make, who we surround ourselves by, and how much we believe in ourselves. When we believe in ourselves, that means that we give ourselves the permission to thrive, the permission to win, and that's lacking in today's society. People only want you to win as far as it suits their interests, as long as they can become a beneficiary of whatever it is that you're trying to do, and people aren't interested if it doesn't benefit them. And most will think that it's selfish to think about yourself and to do the me first thing, but it's not, because if you're not okay, if your mindset, if your focus is off, your whole life will be off. It's going to transfer into a negative attitude as well. So I just want to do a wrap up. Anything that the Word would like to say in ending, I'm going to give him the floor.
I just want to tell y'all to care about how you feel. Everything starts with awareness. You can't fix a problem if you don't know it's a problem. And ask yourself questions because you'll never get answers. You don't never ask questions. They go hand in hand. Be aware and ask questions. Care about how you feel. Peace and light, people.
Amazing. It was an awesome discussion. And thank you so much, The Word, for joining me today and for this amazing collaboration. I hope for many more to come. Y'all go over and check out The Word's channel. It's worth it to be in his live streams. And I'm telling you, that membership is worth it. I appreciate everybody for being here, and those on the replay. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And also, I have pinned The Word's channel for you to go over and check his channel out. Thank y'all so much for joining me. And like I always say all the time, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. See you guys on tomorrow.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it. Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it and be it, and live your best life. forgive me. I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me. I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? Ooh, hey, yeah.